welcome back to the Deep Dive. So today we are getting into something really foundational. We're looking at a collection of sources all focused on deep self-reflection.
And personal forgiveness, yeah. It's really about the precise mechanic of how we let go of past hurts.
And those self-limiting beliefs. I mean, this is basically a manual for an internal reboot.
Exactly. We're not just talking about vague ideas like, just feel better or move on.
No.
We are digging into the practical steps. There's even some very specific daily mirror work.
Right, to identify the actual psychological hardware where all this negativity gets stored.
And then we're giving you the instructions to reprogram the whole system.
So our mission today is to really understand those mechanics, that internal storage system, and then commit to changing that constant internal self-talk.
Shifting it from a punishing narrative to a much more positive channel.
Yeah, and the core idea in all these sources is that true self-love and really committing to a daily practice, those are the keys.
To building a harmonious life, for sure.
So let's unpack this internal architecture. Where are these persistent, often decades-old negative narratives actually stored inside us?
Well, the sources give us this really wonderful, very accessible metaphor.
Okay.
Imagine your internal system has just a massive filing cabinet, and it holds every single piece of data about you.
And they suggest this is physically located somewhere.
Yeah, it's centered in your core. Your gut, your solar plexus area.
The metaphorical home of intuition, but also, I guess, the literal home of that tension we carry from stress.
Exactly. The gut feeling and the gut history. It's a convergence.
Right.
You see, since childhood, every message you've gotten, every experience you've had, every single word you've thought, it's all been recorded.
Stored away.
Stored away on what they call tapes. And your internal filing system has diligently cataloged every single one.
The problem being, for most people, that filing system is just overflowing with painful, outdated records.
And we're talking about a serious accumulation of negative tapes. These aren't just, small worries.
These are the big self-defining statements.
Absolutely. I mean, think about the file labels that have been piling up for decades. I'm not lovable.
I'll never make it.
Or, I always fail at the last minute. The really bad one is, I don't do anything right.
And if you just pause and think about the last time you were really frustrated with yourself, one of those core phrases probably came up.
It did. We are literally buried under piles of these old corrosive programs that the system has just dutifully filed away. So the objective today is to interrupt that entire process.
This is where that element of surprise you mentioned comes in.
Yes.
The sources tell us to start sending completely new, unfamiliar messages to our core system.
So during the mirror work, you introduce phrases like, I'm willing to let go.
I release all blame, or I am ready to forgive.
And if you imagine those little internal clerks running the filing system, right, when they get a new directive like that.
They're totally bewildered.
Yeah. Completely. They have no file-marked willingness to let go. They're looking around going, what is this? Where does this go? We've never processed a positive self-release tape before.
So by sending those new, unexpected positive messages, you're essentially short-circuiting the old routine.
You are. You're clearing out those old negative layers, one positive layer at a time.
That concept, sending the system new input, it brings us right to the main diagnostic tool, which is the middle principle. And this is, the sources are clear. This is the central, non-negotiable belief here.
It is.
Everything in your life is a literal mirror reflecting your deepest inner beliefs.
Yeah.
If you want to know what your tapes are, just look at your external experiences.
And that is a profound, and let's be honest, an often uncomfortable shift in perspective.
Oh, for sure.
Because it just eliminates the victim mentality. If you really examine the people, the situations, the recurring conflicts in your life, you realize they are all mirroring some deep, often unconscious belief you have about yourself.
They're holding up a sign.
Yeah, a sign saying, look, this is a piece of your inner world you haven't dealt with yet.
Let's use that specific example from the material. It really makes it clear. Let's say you constantly find yourself being criticized at work.
Or maybe you always end up dating people who just dismiss your feelings.
Right, that uncomfortable external pattern, that's a literal reflection.
And it's usually a reflection of an internalized self-criticism. The source argues that the person being criticized at work is probably hypercritical of themselves.
Or they've become the critical parent they had as a child.
Exactly. You became that harsh inner voice, and now the external world, your boss, your colleagues, is just validating that internal belief that you already hold.
That's a huge shift. It means the external friction is just the diagnostic tool. It's never the real problem.
Never the primary problem, no. So if something in your life feels uncomfortable, that immediate visceral feeling of, that's the signal.
The opportunity.
The opportunity to stop looking out and to look inside instead. That feeling of discomfort is the moment for immediate self-inquiry and self-forgiveness.
Precisely. You have to pivot and ask yourself these 3 critical questions. They're designed to force you to take your personal power back.
Okay, what are those 3 questions?
First, how am I contributing to this experience? Not about blame, it's about responsibility.
Right.
Second, and this is the really hard one, what is it within me that believes I deserve this?
Oof. That targets the limiting belief head on.
It does. And finally, how can I change this core belief? That whole process, that introspection, is the first essential step.
So we've established we have these old tapes, life is mirroring them back to us. But there's a huge challenge here the sources acknowledge. We often know what's not working, we know what we want, but we don't know the specific block holding us back.
Identifying the block is so difficult because it's usually buried under layers of routine and avoidance.
So if someone says their problem is, say, procrastination or a lack of motivation,
those are just symptoms. They need to find the core driver. So how does the source material fit a symptom like procrastination under one of the big 4?
That's a great question, and it shows how brilliant this framework is. Procrastination is almost always rooted in deep-seated fear.
Fear of failure, fear of success.
Fear of being judged, and constant stress. That usually cycles back to either criticism of yourself or guilt over past choices.
So these core anchors are really pervasive.
They are. The sources identify 4 specific culprits that cause most of our long-term issues. They call them the big 4.
Which are criticism, fear, guilt, and resentment.
Those 4 truly seem to cover almost every painful, debilitating feeling that holds us captive, don't they?
They're massive anchors.
And to start the practical work, to identify and break them down, we begin with a journaling exercise.
Okay.
You create 4 columns in your journal, 1 for each of the big 4. Then you just write thoughts, memories, feelings about the role each of those plays in your life right now.
So if I start writing into resentment, I might suddenly realize I'm still angry at a boss from 5 years ago, or at myself.
Exactly. It forces you to take that hidden inventory you've been carrying around. You have to spend real time on this diagnosis phase before moving on.
Okay, so once we've done that internal digging and identified our main anchors, we need the heavy machinery to actually eject those tapes.
And build the new program.
Let's walk through the core exercise, the daily mirror work, step by step, because this needs to become a routine.
It absolutely needs to be a daily, consistent practice, at least 30 days to really see a shift.
Okay, step 1, stand in front of your bathroom mirror.
Or wherever you feel safest.
Step 2, take a slow, deep breath. Consciously exhale all the tension. Now here is the crucial mental step.
The metaphor.
Look at your own forehead and imagine you're pressing a button, like on an old VCR, that ejects a disc.
And that disc contains all the old beliefs and negative thoughts about the issue you're working on.
You're visualizing the physical removal of the old programming.
Which is so essential. It externalizes the pain. It makes it something you can actually manipulate and discard.
Instead of just being part of your identity.
Right.
And step 3 is to complete that metaphor. You literally imagine pulling that recording out of your head and throwing it away.
Maybe even see it shattering or dissolving. You complete the action.
Then step 4, look deep into your own eyes. This is non-negotiable. And you tell yourself, let's make a new recording of positive beliefs and affirmations.
Looking into your own eyes is where the real power is. You're speaking directly to your subconscious. No masks.
And the source gives us a really powerful script for this new recording.
A very specific script. You need to say these affirmations aloud 2 or 3 times. Let the feelings sink in.
I am willing to let go.
I release and I let go.
I release all tension, fear, anger, guilt, and sadness.
I let go of old limitations and beliefs.
I am at peace with myself. I am at peace with the process of life.
And this last one, spoken to your own reflection, is maybe the most powerful. I am safe.
The power of repeating I am safe to yourself must be transformative, especially if your whole filing system is based on the opposite.
It really is. And the sources stress this isn't just a morning ritual.
Right, carry a pocket mirror.
Exactly. Repeat those affirmations whenever difficult thoughts come up during the day. Make it a constant habit. That continuity is what convinces the internal system that the new program is permanent.
And this all ties back to the journaling exercise.
It does. Steps 2 and 3. Once you've diagnosed your big 4, you take the 2 categories you wrote about most, say was resentment and fear, and you write 10 positive affirmations for each one.
So if resentment was my biggest category, I need to create 10 affirmations actively focused on releasing that anger.
And replacing it with acceptance. Your affirmations would be things like, I now choose to release all hurt and resentment.
The more resentment I release, the more love I have to give.
You're physically constructing the new tape you need to be playing.
And the final part of the journaling brings it all back to the mirror principle, connecting the external world back to the internal.
It's the final diagnostic check. You identify the one or two most challenging people in your life right now, the ones who trigger you the most.
Then you list the specific traits about them that bother you.
And then, this is the most revealing part, you write down how each of those traits mirrors a belief or a behavior you hold about yourself.
That is the moment of reckoning, isn't it? It makes
Yeah.
it impossible to keep pointing the finger outward.
It provides such profound clarity. Now, we have to address the most counterintuitive and frankly the most difficult concept in all of this.
Why we hook on?
Why we keep these tapes playing, even when they cause us obvious suffering. The source says we create these habits, even the painful ones, because they serve us in some way.
The unconscious benefit. It's so jarring to think that negativity or self-sabotage might be a self-created pattern that's fulfilling some weird protective function.
It is startling. It requires you to really slow down and absorb that idea. The source argues that negativity is often created simply because we don't know how to handle some difficult area of life.
So we adopt a pattern of punishment or avoidance instead.
Yes. In some extreme examples, they even talk about illnesses being created. Unconsciously, of course, because the person believes they need to punish themselves, or even punish a parent through their own pain.
That takes forgiveness to a whole new level, because the forgiveness isn't just for the person who hurt you, but for the part of yourself that chose the painful habit as protection.
Precisely. So if you find yourself stuck in a negative loop, that's when the affirmations stop for a moment and deeper self-inquiry begins.
You have to ask those 4 crucial questions to uncover the unconscious benefit.
Which are,
What feeling am I trying to avoid by holding on to this pain?
who am I actually angry at underneath all of this?
What specific difficulty in my life am I trying to avoid by staying stuck?
And crucially, how do I think this specific pain or pattern is going to save me from something worse?
That last question is the definitive one. It confirms the final, critical point from the sources, if you are not ready to let something go.
If you still believe that old, painful tape is protecting you from a greater threat,
You will hold on to it, no matter how much mirror work you do.
readiness is the fundamental trigger. But, and this is the hopeful part, if you are truly ready to realize the danger is past itself, it is, and I'm quoting here, amazing how easy it is to release it.
The moment you stop needing the pain for protection, the pain just dissolves.
It does.
What a profound and actionable note to end this on. The sources even suggest a final meditation.
To cement that feeling of readiness, they recommend visualizing a new door opening to a decade of great healing and consciously choosing to step through it.
And this healing can be for the body, the heart, or the mind. The focus is on moving through that door, knowing fundamentally that we are safe.
And that the old programs are no longer required.
I think we have a clear mantra for the day that really sums up this entire deep dive. I can let go.
The power to eject those old tapes and create a new positive recording for your life is entirely within you.
And for your final thought today, take that idea of the unconscious benefit and apply it to your most persistent difficulty.
If you find yourself consistently unable to release a certain negative pattern, use that lens of avoidance and protection. And ask yourself, what underlying difficulty or uncomfortable feeling are you actually trying to avoid by continuing to hold on to that pain? What hidden safety are you secretly seeking?
Something profound to mull over until our next deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground today, and we thank you for diving deep with us.